Hi, Matthew from Maddie's again. Thursday, ending the day on a really good note. Got another good one repaired. Just wanted to take the time here to just kind of specify how far at least I'll go as a shop, getting into some transmission diagnostics other than some basic maintenance like fluid and filter stuff, which we will fully do. I'll probably be looking into getting a flush machine in the future here, but we do a lot of fluid draining, refilling services with regards to filters and whatnot. But this 2017 Ford F150 with the 5 liter 6 speed transmission presented customer check engine light, two codes, P0720 and a P0722, which was the output shaft speed sensor inside the transmission. Now, this speed sensor is part of the lead frame assembly that is inside the transmission. It is conveniently reading off of one of the drums or reluctors on the inside, tucked up way in there. So the valve body on this has to come off in order to get this to separate from the valve body and everything else. So what we did for this customer is I had previously gone through with Identifix, checked the speed sensor circuit, found that it wasn't in spec. I think we had high resistance. And then there were some threads on Identifix that I was running into real common, I think, this lead frame assembly. So we ended up getting an OEM part from Bergstrom Ford. I ended up getting filter, gasket, and then basically taking the valve body down from the transmission, which obviously requires transpan coming down. It's really important if you're getting into any type of unit like this, especially these newer transmissions, that you have either the experience and or the access to the service information, because there's certain bolts you take loose, there's other bolts you don't touch, there's torque specs. I trained under a heavy guy at Broadway Chevrolet back in the day. We did a lot of tranny work. It's not that I can't get into a lot of the transmissions and everything nowadays, or some of the older stuff. It's just special tools. The manufacturers are making everything different. This 6 speed is a prime example. If you come along on the side after we're done, there is a procedure to fill this. This plug would come off. Really easy if you have a hoist or two hoists like we do here, because you have to put an initial 3 to 3.5 quarts of fluid in the pan, and then that's what I have. I bought a cheap Amazon tool. I do not recommend Amazon parts, but I get a lot of my tools. This was a really inexpensive hand pump tool that I use to basically pump the fluid into the transmission. Put 3 to 3.5 quarts in it, then you start and run the transmission, and you pump. I think we added another 4 to 6 quarts or whatever, and then you have to check the little dipstick that's up there. Just got back from test driving this. Everything is a-okay, nothing's leaking, nothing that we touched. Speed sensor codes are gone, and customers should be happy. This is a good customer of mine. That's why I didn't have any I wouldn't say regrets, but any anxiety about getting into the unit this far. I knew from checking the procedure there wouldn't be any special tools I didn't have, or any tools that I didn't have to get this job done. And from the testing that I did, again, back to the diagnostics, verifying that it was the speed sensor or the lead frame assembly, it could be high resistance anywhere in that thing, was pretty confident with where we were going. So just wanted to kind of put that out there. Again, at Maddie's Auto Repair, we'll do services, fluid filters on the ones that you can do. We can check the fluid on transmissions that they don't make it with a dipstick tube. Have the procedures, the service information to get the job done. And again, another quality repair, another good diagnostic that I'll be happy with, ending the day on a high note. And then I just also wanted to touch on some head gasket stuff for anytime engine repair. I won't necessarily get too far into transmissions, but engines, different story. I have a neighbor down the road that I do have a good relationship with business-wise. Anytime we take a head off here for cam, lifter, cylinder head gasket, you name it. It, especially if it's aluminum head, which I think 95% of heads out there are aluminum on most cars and trucks that we're working on. Aluminum, steel, if it's an iron block, contract at a different rate. If you have that head off for any reason, it is imperative. I would highly recommend sending that out to an individual like I have down the road, or a machine shop. Spec on some of those can be 5 thousandths, or I'm sorry, as little as 2 to 3 thousandths for flatness across the deck. And if it's not machined, not decked, right back down to spec, you put that back on for whatever reason. If you're doing a cam or lifter or something like that, you could have a repeat repair with a head gasket issue or coolant leak or something like that. I don't like repeat repairs. I like to get in, do the job as best I can with the knowledge that I have, and the individuals and the partnerships that I have, and it's been working pretty well. We do a lot of engine work. I do a lot of engine work, a lot of cams, lifters, engines themselves. I like doing that work. Timing chains, 3.6s, GM 3.6s, which I'm sure everyone's really familiar with. But again, I can't stress the importance enough. If you have a mechanic and you have a shop doing something, it is important that you at least ask those questions. If they're taking the head off, are you sending that out to be machined? Are you getting a new head? Are you quoting something out like that? That makes a huge difference, because it could make the difference between, yeah, they may get the cam and lifter job done or something like that, get the noise repaired, get the vehicle running right, but guess what? Might not be coming back in a week, might not be 6 months, but you could have issues down the line, 5,000 miles, 10,000 miles, because the head wasn't checked. And don't get me wrong, I go by what the customer wants to do. I've done head gasket jobs before. I'm sure we all have in this industry. Customer didn't want to spend the extra time, whether it was lower mileage or something like that. It's up to the customer. The customer is the one that makes the decision. If they choose not to do that, at least me as a shop and an owner and a technician, I've at least offered that to get a quality job, and again, not a repeat repair. I don't get a lot of comebacks here, because me and Brandon spend the time to diagnose it properly, repair it properly, and then also verifying it. I test drive these things religiously, and then recheck them for codes, leaks. But again, good end to a good Thursday. I got a lot of small gravy stuff coming in tomorrow, so make it a great Thursday, make it a great weekend. Thank you.